Welcome everyone to this hybrid meeting of the Executive. Please note that the meeting is being broadcast and recorded. For clarity, voting is only permitted by the members who are present in the room. Any members joining the meeting remotely are able to participate in the debate, but are not able to vote. Other than that, the usual rules apply. Agenda item 1, apologies for absence. Are there any apologies?
I have apologies from Councillor Temperton and Councillor Bidwell.
Thank you. I can see the members of the committee who are in attendance and their names will be recorded in the minutes. Please could the clerk confirm if any members are joining remotely and could those members confirm their attendance when your name is called?
There are currently no members joining remotely.
Thank you. Agenda item 2 is declarations of interest. So the full text for declarations of interest is set out on the agenda. If any member has a disclosable pecuniary interest or affected interest to declare, please indicate and I'll come to you in turn. Nope, thank you. There are no declarations, but may I remind everyone that you can make a declaration at any time should it occur to you at a later point. If anyone declares a disclosable pecuniary interest, they will need to leave the meeting when we get to the relevant item. So agenda item 3 is minutes from the previous meeting. Are members all happy to approve the minutes of the meeting on the 21st of May 2024? And would they like any amendments to be made? No, everyone happy? Can we then please vote if you're in favour of approving the minute? Vote in favour if you're happy to approve the minutes as a correct record. Thank you. If I can get my words out. Agenda item 4, urgent items of business. Are there any urgent items?
No, none notified, but I'd just like to confirm that Councillor Bailey has just joined the meeting remotely.
Councillor Bailey, thank you. Thank you. Agenda item 5 is the Council Plan Overview Report Q4. Chief Exec, I understand that you want to introduce the item.
Thank you very much. Yes, so I just wanted to say a few words. This is obviously the end of reporting against the Council's previous council plan. And so I just wanted to take the opportunity in particular to thank Katie Flint, who has been reporting against this for the last couple of years. But in particular, since I've joined, Katie and the team have been picking up the amendments and gradual improvement as to how we're reporting against the council plan, and we've fed that into the council's new council plan and reporting. So we will be picking up those improvements going into reporting against a new council plan, which will start shortly. So I just wanted to pass on my thanks, and then I'll pass on to Katie, who will give you an overview of the report.
Thanks very much. So just to very briefly summarise this for you today, the report covers the final period of the previous council plan, so that's specifically from January until March of 2024. It includes reflection across the past year with various highlights, including things like the adoption of the new local plan. It includes things like establishing the Berkshire Prosperity Board, which is focusing on economic development across all of the unitary authorities in Berkshire. It includes things like the agreement from the Department for Education to provide us with £16 million for the safety valve programme, which is focusing around improvements for the special educational needs and disability services. And we also had various good outcomes from Ofsted and various inspections, such as for the short break service Larchwood. So the vast majority of actions and indicators you'll see within the report have been completed or are on track. The remaining actions that you see that haven't yet been completed at the end of this period have been reviewed by services as part of the service planning process. So these will either be included within the service plans that we'll be reporting on from the next performance reporting period, or they've also just been integrated into business as usual activity as part of normal service operations. There have continued to be challenges reported in this performance reporting period, including things related to budget and funding. So I'll ask the Executive Director of Resources to share a few words on this in a moment. But finally, I would just highlight that from Q1 onwards, the focus of the report will move to the new council plan that was agreed by this administration at the end of last year. And so all of the actions and performance indicators that you'll see from Q1 onwards will be those that are set out in these service plans that have been agreed. Thanks very much.
Thank you. It was a particularly challenging financial year, Chair. All parts of the council faced financial pressures. The details of the most significant ones are set out in the report from page 23 onwards. Essentially, it was a combination of high inflation, increasing demand for service and falling income in areas such as planning because the economy has not been as buoyant as it has been. So we did project a potential overspend of around £4 million last summer. So in response to that, there were a range of spending control measures introduced over the course of the year. We went into the final quarter of the year with a feeling that it was possible we might get back to a balanced position, but it was going to be challenging. At the end of the day, that didn't quite work out, and therefore we did experience the first overspend of Bratton Forest Council of £1.2 million in 23-24. So that does require us to draw some funding down from general reserves to bridge the deficit that we face. But fortunately, Bratton Forest's balance sheet is in a relatively healthy position compared to many local authorities. So it's unhelpful, but it won't significantly knock us off track.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Wright.
Now that you've got the figures in for the end of the year last year, does that make any difference to our budget for this year?
The work on that is being assessed at the moment, Councillor. We do expect that there will be some of the pressures continuing into 24-25, though we did cover some of them off as well in the 24-25 budget. We'll look at the numbers in the next couple of weeks. We don't report the first monitoring position generally until into July, but we're doing some early work on it. I think I have to report to members, it's likely we will face another difficult financial year in 24-25. Hopefully not quite as big a challenge as delivering 23-24, but it's unlikely to be an easy year.
Any further questions? No. Can I have someone to move the recommendations as set out in section 2.1 of the report?
Councillor Neil, I'd like to move the report.
Can I have a seconder, please?
Chair, Councillor Gilby.
Thank you. Would the mover like to speak?
Thank you, Councillor Purnell, and thank you, Katie, for all your hard work on the council plan and seeing it through to today. There have been many achievements during the final year of the 2019-23 council plan period, not least the adoption of the local plan, the creation of the Berkshire Prosperity Board, safety valve proposals being signed off by the Department of Education, all just this quarter. The report also highlights the major successes achieved across the year, of which officers should be rightly proud and residents can be confident in. The report details the financial challenges we face as an authority, and these will continue, not least because local government funding is broken and there is no other way to put it. This year, 20% of councils had declared that they are at risk of bankruptcy, and in the future, 19 councils are receiving exceptional support to manage their financial pressures. Some of our nearest neighbours are in that position, and Bracknell Forest is not immune from the inflationary headwinds and service pressures, nor the funding mechanisms imposed on us by central government. But we do have a solid reputation for robust and pertinent financial management. The shift in position from what we declared last summer of a potential overspend of £4 million to the final outturn of £1.2 million demonstrates this, and an incoming Labour government gives us hope for a proper and fair funding for local government. In the meantime, we continue to deliver on priorities with confidence and a track record for delivery. I'm therefore pleased to move item 5.
Thank you, Councillor Neil. Councillor Gilby, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Chair. I have the pleasure of seconding this. This report, to me, indicates two key things. Number one, this report illustrates the high ambitions that the Council always follows, even in what have been quite clearly difficult financial circumstances. But it also shows to me that the Council has a great ability to assess how things have been done and where we can improve things for the future. These, I think, are a testament to the work of all the officers involved, and I give particular credit to Katie Flint and her team in the work that they have done in this council plan as it nears its end. Quite clearly, as we move into a new council plan, as Councillor Neil has said, we face troubled waters, but I am sure that we will face them with the same sort of degree of ability and experience that we have shown previously. So thank you, Chair. Happy to second this.
Thank you, Councillor Gilby. Would anybody else like to speak? No, just to say that it's a very exciting time coming in now. Q1 will be our council plan based on our manifesto, and there's been so much work that's been put into it. We're so grateful, and we're really excited for the future and what the future will hold. As Councillor Gilby said, there are financial worries, but we've got a secure basis to move forward on. So that's brilliant. So all those in favour? Oh, sorry, Councillor O'Neill, would you like to sum up?
Nothing further, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you. Okay, we move on to agenda item 6, which is the all-age integrated carer strategy 2024 to 2029. And we've got Gráinne Siggins, the Executive Director for People, to present.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, colleagues. And sorry, I'm not there in person this evening. But what you have in front of you is the culmination of a significant amount of work by many people, lots of carers, organisations, representatives who have spent a lot of time trying to identify how do we support our carers in Bracknell Forest. So carers of all ages, people who go unrecognised often in society. And the strategy you have in front of you for 24 to 29 outlines how we in Bracknell Forest intend to support our carers. So caring for our carers 24-29 is how it's defined. The key priorities in the strategy have been identified by carers and organisational representatives as being the key areas that we need to focus on to ensure we continue to support our carers to have a life of their own outside of their caring role, as well as respect and value the caring role that people undertake. The document that you have is the strategy. It did come to you previously in draft form. Following the draft, it has been out for 12 weeks, formal consultation. However, in the preparation of the original draft, over 1,200 people were actively consulted and engaged. A significant number of those carers responded to surveys, etc., and face-to-face. So there is already a significant volume of input into the design and creation of the strategy. So following the strategy, on the consultation, we have the final document in front of you. In the document, you will note that there are a whole range of actions within those priority areas, but the next piece of work we need to do is to turn those actions into a credible implementation plan and for the next 5 years. The Carers Partnership Board, which consists of carers and is in fact co-chaired by a carer, will be moving that forward. So as part of the recommendation, in addition to approving the strategy, is to delegate authority to myself, plus Councillor Bailey and Councillor Wright, to actually formally agree the implementation plan that goes alongside the strategy that you have in front of you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Gráinne. Any questions? Councillor Neil.
Thank you, and thank you, Gráinne, for the report. The strategy mentions other organisations that will have to work with the council to ensure that the implementation is a success. Is there any commitment from partner organisations to deliver the priorities identified in the strategy?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Councillor Neil. It's a conversation I asked recently at the Place Committee, because you will see the partner logos on there. So we're in the process of, so all of the agencies were present at the Place Committee and confirmed their commitment. So in terms of the governance route, the Director of Place confirmed that she would work with each of those agencies to secure their formal agreement to the strategy. And as part of the current governance process, we will report the update to the Health and Wellbeing Board on a regular basis, which does include a number of our partner agencies present at the Health and Wellbeing Board, in addition to the place-based governance arrangements that exist at that time.
Any further questions? Can I ask, how are you going to monitor the implementation of the strategy?
As indicated, the Carers Partnership Board is going to be the key place for having lengthy discussions and debates on the implementation of the strategy, but also holding us to account. So in the context of that meeting, that is the group which will actually identify, we will formally approve, and they will monitor implementation. The next process then is for the period of escalation. If any actions aren't being progressed, they will come through the various organisational routes for formal escalation. And within the council, ours will be progressed through our regular departmental management team and the issues, but also, as noted, through the Health and Wellbeing formally, which is a public board.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can I ask a member to move the recommendations set out within the report, please?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Wright, I'd like to move the recommendations.
Thank you, and I'm happy to second those. Councillor Wright, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Chair. I mean, this strategy has been talked about for quite a while. It's an incredible piece of work. We've consulted. I haven't done much personally, but you know, we've got over 2,000 carers in Bracknell, but we've managed to speak to 1,000 of them to get to hear what their opinions on how we should form the strategy, which I think is incredible. So I'd like to thank Gráinne Siggins and the team. I think it's a fantastic piece of work that we've managed to pull everyone in. We've also managed to pull in the voluntary organisations, and so we can truly say this is a co-designed, co-produced piece of work. It's great to see, and really just look forward to implementing the strategy and seeing how it all pans out with everyone being involved. It should be fantastic. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll reserve the right unless anybody else wants to speak to it. No? I'd just like to say that when I read this document, the thing that blew me away was that we have carers as young as 5 in the borough, caring emotionally or physically for the needs of their loved ones. And it's the fact that this strategy will reach out to them to get them the support and the respite, the break that they desperately need. And as Councillor Wright said, for over 1,000 carers to have contributed to this document is absolutely amazing. So I'll leave it there. Thank you. Would the mover like to sum up?
Thank you, Chair. I don't think I have anything further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favour of the recommendations, please raise your hand. Thank you. Okay. Agenda items 7 and 8 are supported by annexes containing exempt information as defined in Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972. If the committee wishes to discuss the content of those annexes in detail, it may choose to move to a closed session. Now, as our leader often says, I'd rather keep this session open so that we are transparent to the good people of Bracknell. Is anybody like to or plan to ask any questions that might fall into the pink papers? No? Okay, in that case, we can move on then to agenda item 7, which is the Berkshire Intelligent Transport Maintenance Award contract. And we've got Neil Matthews, the Assistant Director of Highways and Transport, to present the item. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, Chair. This report seeks approval to award a joint authority contract for the maintenance of intelligent transport systems equipment over the next 10 years. ITS equipment includes traffic signals, CCTV, traffic CCTV, real-time passenger information systems, variable message signs, a lot of the technology that we see alongside our highways these days. including the bespoke telecoms equipment that's used to communicate with those devices. And this contract covers all of Berkshire with the exception of Royal Borough of Windsor and Maidenhead. The procurement process was led by Reading Borough Council, but all the authorities that are participating in the contract were involved in the evaluation process, which is outlined in the confidential Annex A. The contract includes key performance indicators that are linked to contract extensions beyond year 5, and the contract inflation will be dealt with by reference to industry indices. The executive has recommended to award the contract to bidder number 2, them having met the quality criteria and submitted the most economically advantageous tender. That's my summary, Chair. Happy to answer any questions that you or your colleagues may have.
Thank you very much, Neil. Any questions? No, no questions. Could I ask a member to move this report, please?
Chair, Councillor Gilby, I'm happy to move.
Lovely. Can I get a seconder?
Chair, Councillor Wright, I'm happy to second.
Thank you. Councillor Gilby, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Chair. Just briefly, I'd like to say that although the procurement process was led by Reading Borough Council, our team has had significant involvement, not just in liaising with Reading, but the other authorities in Berkshire, with the exception of one as outlined, to get to this position. This contract, as described, offers both quality and value to our residents, and therefore I'm very happy to see this progress and thank everyone that's been involved in this process. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Gilby. Councillor Wright, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Chair. I've got nothing further to add. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak? No. Councillor Gilby, would you like to sum up?
Nothing to add, Chair.
Thank you. I think it's important to note that this is a joint contract covering the whole of Berkshire, and it's obviously, you know, really important that we remain up to date and on top of all the signage and all the intelligent transport furniture that's required for safety on the roads, if nothing else. So the fact that contract's being brought up to date is great news. We can move on now. Oh, no, let's vote. Let's vote. Everyone in favour of the recommendations, please raise your hands. Thank you. Now we can move on. Agenda item 8, the safety valve construction projects strategic procurement plan. And I've got Kevin Gibbs, Executive Director for Communities, to present. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This report seeks approval from the Executive on a strategic procurement plan to build a number of schools stroke additionality to schools as part of our safety plan programme. We've got to a very important stage in that piece of work where we're now in a position to be able to let physical works programmes which will allow us to bring forward additional resources at schools and move forward with a specialist school on a site. I'll leave it at that point, Chair.
Thank you. Have we got any questions? No questions? I'm happy to move the recommendations in this report. Can I have a seconder, please?
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to second.
Thank you. Really positive that we are making progress on these schools in Edgeborough and All Saints in Warfield, to create new places for our children with special educational needs is going to have a huge impact on their lives and on their parents. So really pleased to move this report. Councillor Wright, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Chair. Just to add that it's exciting to see this happening, and that as early as end of next year we might be moving towards having something at Edgebarrow, which will then be open later. But it's nice to see that this will happen within our administration, so really chuffed. Thank you. Thanks to everyone for their speed in getting this through. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? No, just to sum up, just to echo what's already been said, it's fantastic positive news. And we're proud to be a part of that, of moving it forward. So if we can just vote, everyone in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you. And that brings us to the end of this meeting. Thank you, everyone.